Hello there, and welcome. Tonight, we drift together into the quiet ocean that surrounds us, not of water, but of air. The sky above, wind that brushes your skin, the breath that fills your lungs, all are part of one vast, invisible sea. This ocean has no shores. It stretches upward, layer upon layer, so immense that even the tallest mountains barely touch its waves. Yet we live at its bottom, walking on land beneath an endless sky that is always in motion. Close your eyes, if you wish. Imagine that you're lying on the deck of a slow-moving ship. Above you, clouds drift like islands. The air ripples gently, carrying the faint hum of life below the rustle of leaves, the sigh of distant waves. Every gust and swirl is a current in this atmospheric sea, carrying warmth, moisture, and whispers of faraway places. The air may look empty, but it is alive. It dances with sunlight and shadow. It holds the songs of storms and the scent of rain. It carries dust from deserts across oceans, pollen from forests to fields, and the breath of one living being to another. In this ocean of air, everything is connected, flowing together in delicate balance. Weather is the name we give to these movements, to the rippling waves of wind and cloud, to the tides of temperature and light. The atmosphere is restless, yet rhythmic, its patterns repeating, its moods shifting, its pulse steady like the heartbeat of the planet. As you settle deeper into stillness, imagine the earth beneath you turning slowly through this ocean. The sun warms one side, cools the other, setting in motion invisible rivers of air. Warm currents rise, cold ones sink, clouds form, dissolve, reform again. The air hums with quiet purpose, moving energy from where there is too much to where there is too little. Every breeze, every drop of rain, every whisper of thunder is part of this vast exchange. The air doesn't just touch the world, it sculpts it. It smooths mountains, shapes valleys, and carries seeds across continents. And though we often think of weather as something that happens to us, in truth, we are part of it. Every breath you take joins this great circulation. When you exhale, a small trace of warmth and moisture joins the air, perhaps to rise into a cloud, to drift across the horizon, and one day, to fall as rain again. Our atmosphere is gentle, fragile, and astonishingly thin, just a soft veil around the planet. Yet within it, every storm, rainbow, snowflake, and summer breeze is born. The same air that brushed the wings of ancient birds now fills your lungs. The same oxygen that fed the first forests still flows around us tonight. So as we begin this gentle journey through the weather's wonders, take a slow breath in. Let it remind you that you are floating, always, within Earth's living ocean. Let your body rest and your thoughts wander, drifting like clouds. There's no rush here, no need to hold on to anything. Just breathe and feel the calm of the sky settling within you. Because tonight, we will not simply watch the weather. We will drift through it softly, curiously, like travelers in the sea of air. Imagine Earth as a sleeping giant, breathing slowly beneath the sky. Each inhale and exhale takes the form of wind, rain, heat, and cloud. Weather is not just what we feel, it's the rhythm of a living planet. A heartbeat made of air and light. The sun begins it all. From 150 million kilometers away, its light falls unevenly across the Earth. The equator bathes in warmth, while the poles rest in cold twilight. This difference, the simple contrast between hot and cool, sets everything in motion. Warm air rises like a sigh. Cool air sinks like a whisper. Between them, invisible rivers of wind begin to flow, wrapping around the globe in graceful spirals. If you could watch the planet from space, you'd see these swirls, vast patterns of white and blue, forever shifting, but never random, expanding, contracting, flowing from east to west, north to south. Each breeze you feel on your face is a note in this endless song of balance. The ocean joins the dance. Its surface shimmers, storing sunlight by day and releasing warmth by night. Water rises into the air as vapor, forming clouds that drift across continents before returning as rain. Every droplet that falls is a traveler, part of a story that began in the sea. The weather, then, is not separate from water or land. It is the meeting place of them all, where energy passes from one form to another. Within this great system, temperature, pressure, and moisture weave a pattern so delicate that even a butterfly's wing can change its rhythm. The air moves in layers, soft, near the ground, fierce, high above, yet all connected, all breathing as one. When you stand outside and feel the breeze, you're feeling the planet exhale. When the air stills and silence falls, that too is part of its rhythm. A gentle pause before the next breath. The clouds that drift lazily overhead are like thoughts of the sky, forming and dissolving as if in quiet contemplation. Sometimes this breathing becomes restless. Warm air and cold air collide, and storms are born. But even in their chaos, there is harmony. Lightning, thunder, wind, all are expressions of balance trying to restore itself. Energy builds, releases, and the air calms again. This endless exchange between light and shadow, water and air, calm and storm is what keeps the world alive. Without it, the oceans would stagnate, forests would fade, and no breath would fill our lungs. Every breeze, every raindrop, every shift in cloud and temperature is a message from Earth's body, reminding us that life is movement. And yet, in all this complexity, weather remains deeply simple. It is warmth seeking coolness, high seeking low. The sky, always trying to find peace within its own restlessness. As night falls, the balance softens, the land cools, winds settle, dew begins to form, quiet as a sigh. In this slowing rhythm, you can almost hear the planet breathing a deep, soft pulse beneath the silence of the stars. So the next time you step outside, take a moment to listen. The breeze brushing your cheek, the faint rustle of leaves, the distant roll of thunder, these are not random sounds. They are Earth, whispering through its breath, reminding you that you belong to the same rhythm. Every heart on this planet, bird, human, whale, or insect, beats in time with the weather's pulse. For the atmosphere is not just above us, it lives within us. Look up at the sky, and you might see a soft white shape drifting slowly above the horizon. It seems so light, so delicate, almost fragile. But that gentle-looking cloud, so calm, so weightless, hides a truth that feels impossible. It weighs more than 1,000,000 elephants. A single summer cloud, fluffy and harmless as it seems, holds hundreds of thousands of tons of water. Invisible droplets, too tiny to see, hang suspended together in a vast dance of balance. Each droplet is lighter than a grain of dust, yet together they form something heavier than mountains. And still, it floats. The secret lies in the air itself. Warm air rises from the sun-touched earth, carrying moisture upward. As it rises, it cools, and the water vapor condenses into those tiny droplets that make up the cloud. The droplets don't fall, because the rising air beneath them is lifting them gently, like a hand holding them in place. This quiet struggle between gravity and buoyancy creates one of nature's most beautiful paradoxes. Something immensely heavy, appearing utterly weightless. From below, we see only softness, white cotton pulled across the blue. But within, there is motion, complexity, and quiet strength. If you could step inside a cloud, you'd find yourself surrounded by mist, cool and luminous. Light scatters in every direction, turning the air into a glowing white room with no floor, no ceiling. Every droplet around you reflects and refracts the sunlight, creating an endless shimmer, a gentle brightness that feels alive. Clouds are born from heat, shaped by wind, and sculpted by invisible layers of air. They form, shift, and dissolve with the patience of breathing. The puffy cumulus clouds of summer afternoons are like thought bubbles of the sky, momentary and full of imagination. High, thin, cirrus clouds stretch like delicate brushstrokes, whispering of distant winds. Heavy storm clouds, dark and rolling, carry within them the tension of change, the sky preparing to speak in rain and thunder. But even the fiercest clouds are temporary. Every cloud, no matter how vast, eventually releases its burden, transforming into rain or dispersing back into vapor. It is a lesson written in air. Nothing heavy stays heavy forever. Even the weight of 1,000,000 elephants can become a wisp that fades into blue. Sometimes, when the evening light slants low, the clouds catch fire with color: amber, rose, violet, gold. This is sunlight filtering through countless droplets, scattering shorter wavelengths, and letting the warm hues flow through. It is the sky's way of painting farewell before night arrives. And when you watch them drift, remember, you are not just seeing vapor, but water that has risen from oceans, rivers, and breath. The same molecules may once have fallen as snow in the Himalayas, flowed through an African river, or rested in a morning dew upon a leaf. Now, they float together above you, luminous and free. The next time you tilt your head to watch a cloud pass, think of the invisible forces holding it there: the warmth beneath, the cool above, and the eternal cycle of lifting and falling. The sky is not just a canvas, it is alive with tension and tenderness. Every cloud is a story of balance of the earth's heat, meeting the chill of the heavens, of heaviness turned to grace. And perhaps, in its slow, drifting journey, it reminds us that even the heaviest burdens can rise, if only we allow a little warmth and air beneath them. There comes a moment when the air itself seems to hold its breath. The wind pauses, the sky darkens, and then, without warning, the world splits open with light. Lightning, a jagged vein of brilliance stretching from cloud to ground, glowing hotter than the surface of the Sunday. For a fraction of a second, the sky becomes fire-raw energy turned visible. Each bolt of lightning reaches temperatures of over 30,000 degrees Celsius. In that brief instant, air is transformed into plasma, a state so hot and violent that it makes the atmosphere ring like a struck drum. We call that sound thunder. But before the sound arrives, there is silence. You see the flash first, the bright tear in the darkness, because light moves faster than sound. Then, moments later, the voice of the storm follows, a low, rolling growl that stretches across valleys and rooftops, echoing like ancient drums calling through the night. If you've ever counted the seconds between the flash and the rumble, you've felt time stretch inside the storm. Each heartbeat marks the distance between you and the lightning strike: 3 seconds, 1 kilometer. The longer the gap, the farther away the storm's heart beats. What we hear as thunder is air expanding faster than sound can carry. The lightning superheats a thin column of atmosphere. The sudden burst of energy forces the air outward, creating a shockwave that rolls and rumbles. Each storm becomes an orchestra of pressure and sound, a dialogue between light and vibration. Yet, lightning is more than destruction. It is creation. Each flash helps fix nitrogen from the air into the soil, feeding plants, which in turn feed us. Even in its fury, lightning renews life. A paradox, again, power and nourishment entwined. In ancient times, lightning was seen as divine, the fire of gods, the anger of the heavens. But today, as we understand the science behind it, the wonder has not faded, it has deepened. We know what it is, and yet it still feels like magic. The sky remembering its own power. There are different kinds of lightning, each with its own mood. Some leap between clouds, bright veins threading through gray. Others strike downward, fierce and singular. Still others climb upward, unseen by most eyes, flickering into the stratosphere in crimson and blue sprites and jets. The secret lights of the upper sky. If you've ever stood at a window during a summer storm, lights off, simply watching, you know the feeling, that quiet awe, that sense of something immense and alive moving just beyond your reach. The air smells sharp and new, charged with ozone. Rain begins to fall, each drop cooling the ground as thunder rolls like distant surf. There is something deeply calming in this rhythm. Flash, pause, rumble. Even in the heart of chaos, there is pattern, a storm breathing in and out, and when it passes, it leaves behind a different kind of silence. The air feels lighter, cleaner, as if the earth has exhaled. The storm's fire has burned away the heaviness, and all that remains is stillness, fresh and renewed. So the next time lightning flashes across the night, don't flinch. Watch it, feel it. It is the universe reminding you that even in the quietest places, energy hums unseen. It is the voice of balance, fierce, beautiful, and fleeting. The sky speaks in thunder only so we remember how alive it is. And perhaps so we remember how alive we are too. When we think of rain, we often imagine it as it appears in drawings, graceful teardrops falling from a grey sky, each one perfect, pointed at the top and round at the bottom. But nature rarely follows the lines of our imagination. Real raindrops are shaped not like tears, but like little worlds in motion, shifting, trembling, endlessly delicate. The smallest droplets begin as perfect spheres. They form high in the clouds, where vapor cools and condenses into tiny beads of water, held together by surface tension. Each one is round, smooth, and shining, a tiny globe reflecting the light of the world around it. As these droplets fall, they grow. They bump into others, merging and swelling, heavy with water and gravity's pull. The air pushes upward against their fall, flattening their bottoms until they resemble miniature buns, soft and domed, like the top of a mushroom or the curve of a coin. When they grow too large, the air can no longer hold them together. The raindrops break apart mid-descent, scattering into smaller droplets that begin their journey anew. It's a gentle cycle, creation, division, reunion, repeated thousands of times before the water reaches the earth. Each drop, though small, carries with it a whisper of the clouds it came from the chill of altitude, the scent of ozone, the trace of sunlight, filtered through miles of sky. When rain falls, it is as though the heavens are returning something borrowed. On your window pane, the raindrops stretch and merge, creating the illusion of the teardrop shape we know so well. Gravity pulls them downward, elongating their forms as they slide. And we, seeing through glass, mistake motion for identity. But in open air, raindrops are spheres, soft globes of balance tumbling through wind and light. Listen closely during a gentle rain, and you'll hear its many voices. The first drops land with soft, uncertain taps, scattered notes on leaves and rooftops. Soon, they join in chorus, creating a rhythm that seems both ancient and alive. Each sound is different. A whisper on moss, a shimmer on stone, a muted patter on water. Rain brings renewal to everything it touches. It smooths the dust, feeds the soil, and draws sleeping seeds from the earth. For animals, it is signal and sustenance, a cool drink, a change of season, a reason to emerge or hide. When the rain falls long enough, its scent deepens. The ground breathes out a fragrance, warm, earthy, full of life. The air grows heavy with it, and you can almost taste the mingling of soil and sky. Look up at a grey day, and you might notice that no two raindrops fall exactly the same way. Some drift sideways in the wind, others rush straight down. Each follows its own invisible path through the air, guided by unseen currents. In a way, rain is a lesson in humility. 1,000 tiny worlds falling to earth, each complete, each perfect in its imperfection. And though rain is fleeting, its journey is eternal. The water that runs down your window may one day rise again as mist, float across oceans, and return as snow on another continent. Every drop is a traveler in an endless circle, falling, flowing, rising, and falling once more. So the next time you see rain trailing across glass or shimmering in puddles, remember that you're watching a great migration, the movement of the sky itself, returning home. Let its rhythm slow your thoughts. Let its scent remind you that everything begins again. The rain does not weep, it breathes, and through its falling, the earth finds its calm. Before the first drop even touches the ground, you can smell it coming. That soft, earthy fragrance drifting on the wind, cool, fresh, and strangely familiar. It is the scent of rain, but more than that, it is the memory of earth itself awakening. The name for this delicate perfume is petrichor, from the Greek petra, meaning stone, and ichor, the divine fluid said to flow in the veins of gods. It's a fitting name, because the smell of rain feels almost sacred, an invisible thread connecting the heavens above and the ground below. The story begins long before the storm. During dry days, plants release oils that settle into the soil and rocks. Waiting, when the first raindrops fall, they strike the earth and trap tiny air bubbles beneath them. These bubbles burst upward, releasing those hidden oils and a blend of compounds into the air. A living perfume born from dust, water, and life. Another key to this fragrance is a molecule called geosmin, produced by humble soil bacteria that thrive quietly in the dark. To the human nose, geosmin is incredibly powerful. Even a few parts per trillion are enough for us to sense it. It's what gives fresh soil that rich, grounding smell after a storm. Some scientists believe we evolved to notice it because it meant survival. It meant water was near. When lightning flashes through the air, it adds another note to the rain's scent. Ozone. The strike splits oxygen molecules apart, and when they recombine into triads, O3, they carry a sharp, clean fragrance that rides the wind ahead of the storm. That faint metallic tang you sometimes smell before the rain arrives is ozone, carried down from the upper atmosphere by descending gusts. Together, petrichor, geosmin, and ozone create one of nature's most enchanting symphonies of scent. Earthy, sweet, electric, and new. Each rainstorm plays a slightly different melody depending on the soil, the plants, and the air. In tropical forests, it smells lush and green. In deserts, mineral and dry. On city streets, metallic and nostalgic, blending with stone and dust. When you breathe in that first breath of rain, you are inhaling the chemistry of renewal. Every molecule tells a story millions of years old. The story of Earth's water cycle, of microbes and minerals, of lightning's spark and the soil's patience. There's a reason rain feels calming, even hypnotic. Our senses recognize its arrival not just as a weather event, but as a promise life will begin again. The dust will settle. The air will cleanse itself. Even the animals know it. Ants hurry home. Frogs begin to sing. And birds fluff their feathers in anticipation of the cool wash from above. After the rain, when the world quiets, that scent lingers. The air feels thicker, slower, as if holding on to its fragrance before letting it fade back into silence. You might walk outside and notice how vivid everything looks. The greens greener, the earth darker, the light softer. The world, washed and fragrant, seems reborn. Rain does more than fall, it communicates. It reminds every living thing that the cycle continues, that stillness never lasts forever, that renewal is always near. So the next time you smell that gentle aroma rising from warm earth before the first drops touch down pores, inhale deeply. You are breathing the voice of the planet, translated into scent. It is the earth whispering, I remember the rain, and now, so do you. Some nights, the world grows quiet in a way that feels almost holy. The air thickens, sounds fade, and from the still gray sky, something begins to fall slowly, silently, beautifully. Snow, unlike rain, snow does not simply fall. It descends, it drifts and twirls, caught in invisible spirals of air. Each flake takes its own path, never straight, never hurried, like a dancer surrendering to the rhythm of a song only the sky can hear. Every snowflake begins as a tiny speck, a grain of dust, a hint of pollen, or even a microscopic crystal floating high in the cold air. Water vapor clings to it, freezes, and begins to grow outward in perfect symmetry. As it travels downward, the temperature and humidity sculpt its shape, transforming it into a star, a needle, a plate, or a branching fern. It is said that no two snowflakes are exactly alike. And though that may not be entirely true, nature repeats itself more often than we think it feels true. Because each flake's journey is unique, the air currents it meets, the humidity it passes through, the seconds it lingers in the clouds. Every twist of wind and flicker of cold leaves a signature, a one-of-a-kind imprint written in ice. Most flakes fall at only 1 to 2 meters per second, slower than a butterfly's flight. Some drift so gently that you can watch their descent for several seconds before they touch the ground. Others clump together into soft clusters, tumble faster, swaying like feathers. The larger flakes, the ones that seem to fill the air in great flurries, are made when smaller crystals collide and stick together as they fall through moister air. That's why wet snow feels heavy in your hands. It's a gathering of many smaller lives. When enough of them fall, they hush the world. Sound, usually eager to bounce and echo, is absorbed by the soft blanket forming on the ground. The earth becomes muffled, wrapped in stillness. Even footsteps become whispers. In that silence, time seems to slow. The mind settles. You can almost hear the snow itself, a faint hiss, a fragile murmur of ice meeting earth. Under the microscope, a single snowflake reveals astonishing order. 6 perfect arms radiating from a center, each mirrored and precise. Yet, in the sky, all this geometry dissolves into chaos and grace. The snow dances, merges, melts, reforms. Perfection and impermanence, swirling together. Some legends say snow is the sky dreaming that each flake is a frozen thought drifting down to rest upon the earth. Others call it the sleep of water, the world pausing between liquid and vapor, holding its breath before returning to motion. But snow is also an artist. Over the hours, it reshapes everything it touches. Branches become sculptures, rooftops soften, and even the hardest edges of the world seem kind. In the morning light, the ground glows with 1,000 quiet reflections, each flake catching the sun and scattering it like dusted diamonds. Sometimes, snowflakes can grow unusually large. In 1887, observers in Montana claimed to see flakes the size of plates nearly 15 inches across. Whether or not the tale is true, it reminds us that nature loves exaggeration as much as mystery. And when the snow finally stops, it doesn't end. It rests. Beneath its white silence, seeds sleep, waiting. Animals tunnel through its layers, breathing the warmth it traps. And rivers, frozen at the surface, keep flowing in darkness below. Snow is not merely winter's decoration. It is winter's blanket, the Earth's way of keeping itself alive until spring returns. So when you watch snow fall, remember, each flake is a letter in a long, slow story, written between the clouds and the ground. And if you listen closely enough, you may hear that story being told softly, endlessly, in the hush of winter's breath. There are times when snow no longer drifts softly, when it stops being gentle and becomes a force. Wild, blinding, absolute. The sky and the ground merge into one endless white, and the world disappears. This is a whiteout the moment the horizon is erased. In a whiteout, even shadows vanish. The air and the earth reflect light so evenly that the eyes cannot tell what is near or far, what is up or down. Travelers describe it as walking through nothingness, no edge, no shape, no end. The mind struggles to anchor itself, and the heart learns humility before nature's quiet power. Yet, there's beauty in this blankness. Every direction becomes sky, every sound softened. It's as if the earth has wrapped itself in silence, pausing time so that only the slow breathing of the wind remains. But sometimes, the sky has another kind of power to release not soft flakes, but hard bullets of frozen rain. Hail. Hail begins like any other raindrop, rising and falling inside a storm. Inside thunderclouds, powerful updrafts lift droplets high into freezing air, turning them into small pellets of ice. As they fall, warm air below melts them slightly, until another updraft lifts them back up again. Each cycle adds a new layer of ice, ring upon ring, like the growth rings of a tree. When the ice becomes too heavy for the wind to hold, it falls swift, shining, and fierce. Most hailstones are small, but some grow to the size of golf balls, even baseballs, carrying the memory of every journey they took through the storm. If you were to slice a hailstone open, you'd find its history written inside alternating layers of clear and cloudy ice, each a record of warmth and cold, calm and turbulence. Hailstones are like time capsules, small frozen archives of the storm's heartbeat. The largest hailstone ever reliably measured fell in South Dakota in 2010. It was nearly 8 inches across, weighing almost a kilogram, heavy enough to shatter windshields and dent the earth where it landed. Yet even such violence begins with a single drop of water, lifted by wind and turned by cold. When hail falls, the sound is unmistakable, a rapid percussion against rooftops, leaves, and soil. It's the storm speaking in rhythm, beating its message down from the clouds. Then, just as quickly as it came, it ends, leaving behind a strange silence, as though the world itself is exhaling. After the storm, the ground glitters. The ice pellets rest like scattered pearls, melting slowly under the returning Sunday. Each one refracts the light, tiny lenses magnifying grass blades and soil grains, turning destruction briefly into beauty. In frozen lands, snow, hail, and frost preserve the secrets of centuries. Inside glaciers and ice cores, scientists read ancient stories, trapped bubbles of air that tell us what the world once breathed thousands of years ago. Each layer of ice is a page in Earth's long diary, written in temperature, dust, and sunlight. Ice remembers what we forget. It holds the songs of extinct forests, the sighs of lost winds, the trace of every sunrise that has ever melted across a glacier's face. So, when you next feel the sting of cold rain turning to hail, or see the world vanish behind a curtain of snow, pause. You are witnessing the sky's memory moments of weather so intense that they write themselves into stone. Whiteouts remind us how small we are. Hail reminds us how powerful small things can become. And together, they tell a story of balance, of the air's endless experiment between calm and chaos, silence and sound, warmth and freeze. The storm always ends, the world always reappears, and the ice for a little while remembers everything. Sometimes, the sky breathes too deeply. Warm air surges upward. Cold air dives down. And in that collision of temperatures, the atmosphere begins to twist. What begins as a soft rotation high above invisible, almost lazy can, under the right balance of forces, tighten into a spiraling column of fury. A tornado. There is a strange grace to its birth. Inside a thunderstorm, powerful updrafts lift moist air into great towers of cloud. Wind shears those invisible changes in wind speed and direction, with height cause the air to spin horizontally, like a rolling cylinder. Then, the storm's rising current tilts that spin upright, and the funnel begins to descend. At first, it's only a ghostly swirl of dust and mist, a pale thread stretching from the dark belly of the cloud toward the earth. Then it thickens, tightening, gathering speed. Within minutes, it can become a roaring tower of air, moving across the land at over 300 kilometers per hour. The air pressure inside a tornado's core drops so dramatically that it can lift houses, twist steel, and in one of the strangest truths of physics, drive straws through solid wood. The pressure difference turns fragile things into missiles, transforming the gentle into the devastating. And yet, to see one from a distance safely, from the edge of a wide plain, is to witness the raw artistry of nature. A churning column beneath a bruised sky, its edges rimmed with lightning, its body both violent and mesmerizing. Even in chaos, it holds an eerie symmetry, a moving sculpture carved by invisible hands. Storm chasers describe the sound as unlike anything else. Not just wind, but a low, unending growl, the Earth's own heartbeat, amplified through air. Others say it feels alive, as though the atmosphere itself has become conscious for a moment, moving with a will of its own. But every tornado, no matter how fierce, has a purpose. It is the atmosphere, redistributing imbalance, spinning away excess energy, equalizing heat, moisture, and motion. It is, in essence, the sky trying to heal itself. Tornadoes are graded on the enhanced Fujita scale, EF0, EF5, a measure not of their appearance, but of their effect. An EF0 may only sway trees and scatter debris. An EF5 can peel asphalt from roads and sweep entire buildings from their foundations. Wind so intense, it reshapes the land for generations. Yet even in their destruction, tornadoes leave behind strange stories of precision. One house flattened, the next untouched. A toy lying in a field, unbroken amid chaos. Nature, it seems, has no interest in fairness, only balance. After the storm passes, the air changes. The scent of soil and ozone fills the lungs. The world feels emptied, rinsed, clean, as if the violence was necessary to restore the calm. The sky clears, the sun breaks through, and life continues fragile but unyielding. In some parts of the world, tornadoes are woven into myth. They are seen as spirits, whirlwinds of ancestors, or the breath of gods. But whether we call them sacred or scientific, their meaning is the same. They remind us that we live beneath a living sky. One that can be nurturing one moment and unfathomably powerful the next. And so, when you see the horizon darken and the clouds begin to twist, remember, this is not just destruction. It is energy changing form, nature's way of exhaling the heat it cannot hold. The wind does not rage for rage's sake. It rages to find peace again. Far out at sea, where the horizon blurs into mist and the water stretches unbroken for thousands of miles, something begins to turn. A whisper of wind, a shimmer of warmth, a rising spiral of air that soon becomes a breathing, pulsing giant, a hurricane. It starts small, as every great force does. Over warm tropical oceans, sunlight heats the surface water until it evaporates, carrying moisture into the sky. The air above becomes heavy with vapor, and as it rises, it cools, condensing into clouds. Each droplet releases heat, invisible energy that feeds the growing storm like oxygen to a flame. The system begins to spin, drawn by the Earth's rotation. Slowly, gracefully, a vast circle forms hundreds of kilometers wide. Wind races inward toward the low-pressure heart, then curves upward and outward, twisting faster and faster. What was once a warm breeze becomes a spiraling engine of nature's power. At the center of this storm lies the eye, a space of eerie calm. Here, the winds fall silent, the clouds part, and sunlight filters through. The sea below may look deceptively still, yet all around it, a wall of thunderclouds spins with unimaginable force. The eye wall, where winds can exceed 250 kilometers per hour. It is the boundary between serenity and chaos, a thin circle dividing peace from destruction. The eye of a hurricane is a paradox, a calm heart inside violence, a stillness that exists only because of the fury around it. If the winds ceased, the calm would vanish too. It survives through motion, balance through imbalance. Every hurricane has its own life story. It's born, it grows, and then it dies, dissipating when it drifts over cold water or land, cut off from the warmth that feeds it. But in its lifetime, it moves with both beauty and terror, spiraling like a living galaxy upon the sea. From above, satellite images reveal their astonishing order: perfect circles, smooth arcs, spiraling arms that resemble cosmic storms seen in distant galaxies. As above, so below. The physics that shapes hurricanes echoes through the stars. Inside, the experience is entirely different. Rain falls not in drops but in sheets, driven sideways by the wind. The air hums with vibration. Waves rise taller than buildings. Yet even in the chaos, patterns emerge, the rhythm of gusts, the breathing of the sea beneath the storm. When hurricanes make landfall, they carry the ocean with them. Storm surges rise, rivers reverse their flow, and landscapes change in hours. Trees bend and break, but some, their roots deep and flexible, survive, living testaments to patience amid violence. Humans have long feared hurricanes, but also studied them, naming each one as if to humanize what cannot be tamed. Each carries its own legacy, a memory etched into coastlines and hearts. Yet in their essence, hurricanes are not vengeful. They are mechanisms of balance, moving heat from the equator toward the poles, redistributing energy so the world can breathe evenly once more. And when the storm passes, silence returns. The wind falls away. The sky clears, and the air smells sweet again. washed of salt and dust. The sea stills, reflecting the sun like glass. Survivors step out into the quiet, blinking at the brightness, hearing only birds and distant waves. Around them, destruction speaks of power, but the calm speaks of resilience. Every hurricane ends in light. Every eye, no matter how fierce its wall, eventually opens to blue sky. The storm's purpose was never to destroy, only to remind us, even in the heart of chaos, there is balance. Even within the fiercest motion, there can be stillness. Nature breathes in spirals, and the hurricane is simply one great exhale. There are places on Earth where the weather does not just change the sky, it changes life itself. Where the turning of winds decides when rivers wake, when seeds sleep, when entire civilizations celebrate or wait in prayer. This is the story of the monsoon, the planet's great seasonal breath. The word monsoon comes from the Arabic mausim, meaning season. It is not merely a storm, nor a single event, but a grand exchange of air, a rhythm between land and sea that has pulsed for millennia. When the sun heats the land faster than the ocean, the warm air over continents rises, drawing moist air in from the sea. This air, rich with vapor, travels hundreds of kilometers, heavy with promise. When it finally meets cooler winds or mountain slopes, it releases its burden as rain, sudden, powerful, and alive. In South Asia, the arrival of the monsoon is like the turning of a page. For months, the earth has waited cracked, dry, and patient. Then, one afternoon, a single dark cloud appears on the horizon. The wind shifts. The scent of dust mixes with the scent of rain, and then, as if on cue, the sky opens. The first monsoon rain is unlike any other. It falls not just on soil, but on memory. Streets fill with laughter. Children run barefoot through puddles. Farmers lift their faces to the downpour as if greeting an old friend. Every droplet seems to carry renewal. In India, in Thailand, in Vietnam, in Africa, the pattern repeats. Rivers swell, rice fields shimmer, frogs sing, and forests breathe deeply again. The land transforms from brown to green. But the monsoon is a teacher of balance, not indulgence. For all its generosity, it demands respect. Too much rain, and floods carve through villages. Too little, and crops wither. The line between life and loss is drawn in clouds. Still, people have learned to live by this rhythm, to celebrate it, anticipate it, and build their stories around it. In India, the monsoon is poetry. In Indonesia, it is music. In Africa, it is the calendar itself. Everything from planting to festival, from migration to marriage is guided by its timing. There are other monsoons too in West Africa, in North Australia, in the Americas. Each with its own cycle, its own signature of wind and water. Some bring relentless rain, others bring dry heat that clears the skies and cracks the earth before the next wet return. To the animals, the monsoon is a signal written in scent and sound. Birds follow its winds. Insects hatch by its moisture. Wildebeest, elephants, and gazelles move across plains in synchrony with its pulse, following green grasses that rise only after the rains. And then, as quietly as it came, the monsoon begins to fade. The winds shift back toward the sea, carrying the last breath of moisture away. The land, once drenched, begins to dry. Rivers shrink, colors fade, and the world returns to waiting once again. But even in its retreat, the monsoon leaves behind abundance. Seeds rest beneath damp soil, ready for next year's song. Wells refill. Forests stretch higher. The air carries a softness, as though the world, refreshed, is sighing in contentment. The rhythm continues year after year, century after century, the earth breathing in and out through monsoon winds. It is a reminder that all things, no matter how grand or small, move in cycles. That every storm, every dry spell, every season of waiting, will always find its balance again. And so, when the first raindrops strike hot dust and the air fills with petrichor, the world does not merely watch the weather, it joins the rhythm. Because the monsoon isn't just rain, it is the heartbeat of half the planet. And like every heartbeat, it means that life goes on. Across the planet, rain does not fall equally. In some places, the sky seems to pour without end, day after day, a curtain of silver that never fully lifts. In others, centuries may pass before a single drop returns. Between these two edges of the Earth's breath lie the extremes of wet and dry, the twin moods of water. Let's begin in the hills of Mawsynram, a small village in northeast India. Here, the clouds are so faithful that people measure time not by calendar, but by rain. Mawsynram receives over 11 meters of rainfall each year, the most on Earth. Entire lives unfold beneath the steady sound of falling water. The monsoon winds sweep in from the Bay of Bengal, heavy with moisture, and crash against the Khasi hills. Forced to rise, the air cools, condenses, and releases torrents of rain that last for months. The forest canopy trembles under the weight. Streams swell into rivers overnight. Houses are built with thick roofs and stone walls, and conversations pause mid-sentence during the loudest downpours. Here, rain is not an event, it is existence. The villagers have learned to live with it, not against it. They weave living root bridges, guiding the roots of fig trees across streams over decades, until they intertwine into natural, breathing structures that can last centuries. Each bridge is a testament to patience, architecture shaped by rain and time. The world here smells constantly of petrichor and leaf. The air is rich, heavy, nurturing. Every droplet is both a gift and a burden. Life-giving, yet relentless. Now travel in your mind across oceans and continents to another world entirely, the Atacama Desert of northern Chile. Here, rain is so rare that some places have not seen a drop in over 400 years. The air is bone dry, the ground a canvas of salt and rust. Rocks lie where they fell a millennium ago, untouched by erosion. Yet, even in this silence, life endures. Microscopic algae and hardy lichens cling to shaded stones, drawing moisture from the faintest traces of fog drifting in from the Pacific. The Kamanchaka, that ghostly fog, is their rain. People here have learned to harvest it, stretching fine nets across the wind to catch droplets from the mist. In the morning light, the nets shimmer like spiderwebs hung with dew, a fragile communion between desert and sky. When, on rare occasions, rain does fall in Atacama, something extraordinary happens. Seeds that have slept for decades awaken overnight. The desert blooms. Fields of pink, violet, and yellow flowers burst from the dust, carpeting the barren land in color so vivid it seems painted. This Desierto Florido, the flowering desert, lasts only a few days before fading again into silence. But for that brief moment, the driest place on Earth becomes a garden. Between these extremes, between Mawsynram's endless downpour and Atacama's patient drought, lies the truth of balance. Water moves not by fairness, but by rhythm. It floods some lands, forgets others, yet through its wandering, it keeps the world alive. For the creatures of the wet, abundance means adaptation, waterproof feathers, thick leaves, deep roots. For those of the dry, survival is an art, storing water in stems, drawing life from dew, moving by night to conserve the cool. Even humans reflect this duality. Where rains are generous, cultures build in stone and clay to withstand the storm. Where water is scarce, they build in sand and silence, learning to celebrate every drop. And though the contrast seems vast, both landscapes teach the same lesson. Life listens to the sky. It bends, adjusts, and continues. So, whether you stand in a place where thunder never sleeps, or where clouds forget to visit, remember, you are witnessing two sides of the same story. Rain and drought, abundance and emptiness. They are not opposites, but partners in the endless balancing act of the planet. For without dryness, the rain would have no meaning, and without rain, the silence would have no end. Our planet is a world of extremes, a globe that breathes both fire and frost. From deserts that shimmer under blinding heat, to valleys so cold that the air itself seems to freeze, Earth's temperature swings between two magnificent edges of survival. Let's begin where the sun feels closest. Death Valley, California, a place where heat itself becomes landscape. The ground ripples in mirage, stones glow with light. The air moves like a living flame. In July 1913, a temperature of 56.7 degrees Celsius, 134 degrees Fahrenheit, was recorded here, still one of the highest natural temperatures ever measured on Earth. At midday, even the wind burns. The sand hisses softly as it shifts. Yet, despite this furnace of air, life endures. Small desert foxes, lizards, insects, and even wildflowers that bloom briefly after rare rains, each adapted to make use of every precious drop of water and every patch of shade. The heat here is deceptive. It is not just sunlight. It is trapped radiation. The basin sits far below sea level, ringed by mountains that hold the hot air in like a cauldron. During summer, the ground can reach temperatures over 90 degrees Celsius, 194 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to fry an egg on the rocks. Still, the desert breathes. At night, the heat rises and escapes, and the air cools quickly, revealing skies of infinite clarity. The stars burn sharp and steady, unbent by moisture or haze, a reminder that even the hottest places can give birth to beauty in stillness. Now, travel to the opposite extreme, Antarctica, the continent of silence. Here, at the high plateau of Vostok Station, scientists once recorded a temperature of 89.2 degrees Celsius, 128.6 degrees Fahrenheit. At that degree of cold, steel snaps, fuel freezes, and breath turns instantly to ice crystals that hang in the air like glittering dust. No insects buzz. No trees sway. Only the wind moves, a dry, endless whisper that sculpts the snow into sharp ridges called sastrugi. The world becomes a canvas of white and blue, so bright it hurts to look at. In this cold, time seems to stop. Each flake of snow that falls remains preserved, pressed beneath countless others, forming layers of ice that hold the memory of ages. Scientists drill deep cores from these glaciers, reading their rings like a frozen history book, a record of the Earth's ancient climate written in oxygen and dust. And yet, even here, life persists. Beneath the ice, in dark subglacial lakes sealed off for millions of years, bacteria live and reproduce in the absence of sunlight, surviving on minerals and patience. In the Antarctic seas, creatures with antifreeze in their blood glide through water colder than zero. Their hearts beat slowly but steadily, defying the laws of warmth. At the other end of the world, the Arctic, a softer kind of cold reigns. Snow foxes curl beneath drifts. Polar bears trek across ice that creaks like old wood. And under the aurora's green light, even the air seems alive. Between these extremes, Death Valley's blazing dunes and Antarctica's endless ice, the Earth maintains its balance. Each pushes against the other, part of a global heartbeat that drives winds, rains, and seasons. Heat rises from the tropics and flows toward the poles. Cold descends from the poles and moves toward the equator. The world is always trading warmth for coolness, exhaling and inhaling through invisible currents. For us, these extremes are reminders of fragility, how narrow the range is in which life thrives. A few degrees colder, and oceans freeze. Yet within that fragile balance, the planet has built mountains, carved rivers, and filled skies with life. So when you feel the summer heat pressing against your skin, or the winter chill nipping at your breath, remember, you are feeling the pulse of a planet that has learned to live at both edges of possibility. The furnace and the frost are not enemies, they are the lungs of the same world. And between them, life flickers, delicate, enduring, and miraculous. When we think of weather, we imagine clouds and storms, rain and sunlight, the fleeting moods of the sky. But weather is also a sculptor. It carves, cracks, polishes, and reshapes the planet itself. Every mountain peak, every valley, every canyon has been touched by the slow, patient hand of the atmosphere. Imagine standing at the base of a mountain. It seems immovable, eternal, a monument of stone that will outlive everything. And yet, the air, the water, and the temperature are always at work. A single drop of rain begins a process that will one day move mountains. It starts small. Rain seeps into cracks. Then comes the cold. At night, when the air drops below freezing, that water turns to ice, expanding with invisible strength. The rock splits, just slightly. Each day, each season, the process repeats. Melt, freeze, expand. Over centuries, cliffs crumble, slopes soften, and valleys widen. This is weathering, the patient art of erosion. It's not violent, but it is relentless. Even the hardest granite cannot resist it forever. In high mountain ranges, the work of weather grows monumental. Here, glaciers form slow, silent rivers of ice. They seem still, but they move inch by inch, year by year, carving their way down valleys, grinding rock into powder. Their weight is unimaginable. Billions of tons of frozen water pressing forward, smoothing stone like sandpaper, cutting U-shaped valleys into the bones of the earth. During the ice ages, glaciers covered much of our world. They sculpted fjords in Norway, the Great Lakes in North America, and vast plains where once there were mountains. Even now, their remnants remain in Greenland, in Antarctica, and on high peaks around the world, still moving, still reshaping, still whispering of the deep, cold patience that defines them. When these glaciers retreat, they leave behind landscapes filled with memory. Moraines of crushed rock mark their passage. Blue lakes form in hollows where ice once rested. To walk there is to walk through time, a record of the atmosphere's ancient strength. Wind, too, is a sculptor. In the deserts, grains of sand carried by invisible hands chip away at stone, grain by grain, for thousands of years. The result? Arches, spires, and towers that seem impossible, like the work of giants or gods. In Utah's Red Canyons or the Sahara's stone pillars, you can see the fingerprints of wind, carving beauty out of emptiness. Even rain, gentle as it seems, sculpts the earth. It digs rivers that cut through continents, carrying mountains to the sea. The Grand Canyon, for instance, is not a monument of sudden force, but of endless repetition, water moving through time, carving its way downward inch by inch over millions of years. Weather is the great equalizer. It humbles even the tallest peaks. It erases what time forgets. And it builds anew out of dust, sand, and the ruins of its own creation. Every stone beneath your feet has been touched by it. Every grain of sand once belonged to something greater. A mountain, a cliff, a monument that weather slowly turned into memory. If you could listen closely to the wind blowing across a canyon or the water trickling through a mountain stream, you might hear it, the soft murmur of time at work. The earth isn't static. It's always being rewritten, not in sudden strokes, but in endless, patient lines. And so, when you stand before a mountain or gaze into a valley carved by glaciers, remember, you are looking at art shaped not by human hands, but by the quiet breath of the sky. The sculptors are the winds, the rains, the frost. Their tools are patience, pressure, and time. And their masterpiece is the world we call home. There are moments when the sky seems to awaken, when it speaks in light and roars in sound. In those moments, we meet one of nature's most dramatic creations, the storm. Thunderstorms are the heartbeat of the atmosphere, born where heat, moisture, and instability meet. It begins quietly, a shimmer of warm air rising from the land, carrying vapor toward the sky. The higher it climbs, the cooler it becomes, until droplets form, gathering into clouds that grow taller, darker, more alive. Within their churning depths, updrafts and downdrafts dance, colliding droplets and ice crystals together. Each collision builds charge, the air itself becoming electric. Then, suddenly lightning. A single bolt flashes across the sky, bright as creation itself. In that fraction of a second, temperatures surge past 30,000 degrees Celsius, hotter than the surface of the Sunday. The air expands violently, creating a shockwave that we hear moments later as thunder. It is the Earth's heartbeat made audible, booming through valleys, echoing off mountains, rolling across plains. Some call it frightening, others beautiful. But in truth, it is both a reminder that the sky above us is alive, powerful, and deeply connected to the ground below. Lightning doesn't strike at random. It searches for paths, tall trees, mountains, buildings, or even the open air above the sea. Each bolt is a conversation between the clouds and the earth, a release of tension built over minutes, resolved in an instant of blinding brilliance. Sometimes, lightning reaches not down, but up, high above the storm. Fleeting red shapes called sprites bloom like ghostly flowers. They stretch for miles, visible only to cameras or pilots who fly above the storm line, brief, silent, and beautiful. Even higher still, blue jets pierce the stratosphere, reaching towards space, painting the thin upper air with electric fire. The storm, it seems, does not end where our eyes do. For all its fury, lightning is not only destruction, it is also creation. Each strike helps bind nitrogen into the soil, forming compounds that feed plants and life itself. In this way, even chaos nourishes. The same bolt that splits a tree also enriches the earth for what will one day grow in its place. Thunderstorms come in many shapes. Some last only minutes, small bursts of rain and sound that cool the evening air. Others, like supercells, rise taller than mountains, rotating majestically across hundreds of miles. Within their hearts, lightning flashes thousands of times per minute, illuminating clouds like lanterns of vapor and fury. And from these vast engines of weather can come tornadoes, the most focused expression of a storm's power. Here, the air begins to spin faster and faster, forming a twisting column that reaches from the cloud to the ground. Winds roar at over 300 miles per hour, fast enough to fling straw through wood, to lift cars like toys, to erase houses in seconds. Yet, even tornadoes, terrifying as they are fleeting. The briefest expression of imbalance. A moment when the sky's tension releases into motion. From a distance, though, even the most violent storm can look peaceful. Lightning flickers inside like a heartbeat behind gauze. Thunder arrives in soft, rolling waves. You can almost imagine the sky breathing, inhaling in silence, exhaling in fire. And then, as quickly as it began, the storm passes. The rain softens, the thunder fades. The clouds drift apart, leaving behind a washed world, glistening, cleansed, quiet. That is the secret of the storm. It reminds us that violence and renewal are part of the same story, that even the loudest nights end in silence, that the same sky that rages also soothes. When the next storm rolls across your horizon, don't only seek shelter. Pause, listen. There is poetry in thunder and warmth in lightning's glow. It is the oldest song of the atmosphere, fierce, fleeting, and always followed by calm. Water is the planet's great traveler. It shifts between sea and sky, between mist and ice, between silence and song. Every raindrop, every snowflake, every bead of dew is a messenger in the endless story of the water cycle, the journey that never ends. When clouds grow heavy and full, gravity calls the water home. It begins softly, a trembling in the air, a coolness on the skin. Then a drop, then another, then thousands. Rain falls, stitching sky and earth together with threads of silver. We often picture raindrops as teardrops pointed at the top, round at the bottom. But that is a dream of the eye, not the truth. In reality, the smallest drops are nearly perfect spheres, held together by the quiet force of surface tension. As they grow larger, the air flattens them like tiny buns of bread, round on top, dimpled below, and when they become too heavy to hold their shape, they break apart mid-air, becoming a spray of new beginnings. The rhythm of rain has its own kind of language. It whispers on leaves, patters on rooftops, hums against windows. Each sound tells a story: the speed of the wind, the softness of the storm, the size of the sky's sorrow or joy. In deserts, the first drops strike like applause. In jungles, rain becomes a symphony so constant it blurs into the heartbeat of the forest. But sometimes, when the air grows colder, water's descent changes its form entirely. It drifts instead of falls. It sparkles instead of splashes, and the world awakens under the delicate spell of snow. Snowflakes begin as vapor that freezes around dust or pollen, tiny seeds of crystal. With every breath of cold air they pass through, new branches form, 6 at a time, each one reflecting the same pattern, yet no two ever identical. The geometry of a snowflake is nature's most patient mathematics. Frozen air solving equations in silence. Some snowflakes fall light as whispers, taking minutes to drift a few meters. Others tumble fast, bound together into flakes the size of coins or plates, so heavy they spiral downward in haste. Each flake's speed is determined by its shape, the ballet of air, gravity, and design. In calm weather, snow drapes the land like memory soft, weightless, erasing sound. But in storms, it transforms into power, wind-whipped, blinding, endless. During blizzards, visibility can vanish entirely. Even your own outstretched hand can disappear in a wall of white. The air becomes a blur of motion, direction lost, time forgotten. And yet, within that chaos, there is strange beauty, the stillness that follows. When every branch and rooftop gleams in crystal silence, snow can fall thick, or it can disguise itself as frost-painting windows with ferns of ice, curling like the delicate handwriting of winter. In high mountains, these crystals grow into entire forests of ice called hoarfrost, where each spike catches sunlight and glows as though lit from within. Step too close, and they crumble, proof that beauty, in nature, often lives just on the edge of fragility. And when winter storms deepen, snow gives way to its colder cousin, ice. Rain that falls through freezing air turns to glass as it lands, coating trees, roads, and wires in transparent armor. It is a breathtaking sight, the world remade into crystal. But beneath its shimmer lies danger. Branches snap under the weight. Streets turn to mirrors where footsteps slide and tires spin. Each frozen drop tells the same story, in a different dialect, of warmth lost, of motion paused, of the air holding its breath. Water never disappears, it only changes costume. Rain, snow, sleet, ice, all are the same traveler, dressed for the season. When spring returns, the thaw begins. Icicles drip. Snow melts into rivulets that carve paths through earth and stone. Every stream is a memory of rain reborn. Every river is a song once sung by clouds. And so the journey continues, from ocean to sky to storm to ground and back again. An endless circle of movement. Nourishing forests, carving mountains, whispering to deserts. The next time rain slides down your window or snow gathers on your palm, remember, you are touching something ancient. The same molecules have fallen on dinosaurs, on deserts, on newborn oceans. They are the planet's oldest travelers, and they have come, once more, to rest in your hand. In the heart of the desert, silence is never truly empty. It hums softly, invisibly with the sound of heat. Here, air shimmers like water. The horizon bends and dances, the ground seems to melt into sky, and the world becomes a mirage, a dream of light and distance. A mirage is not an illusion of the eye, but of the air. When sunlight strikes the desert floor, it heats the sand to astonishing temperatures. The air just above it grows far hotter than the layers above, and light, which usually travels in straight lines, begins to bend. It curves upward through these layers, carrying the reflection of the blue sky down to your gaze. Your mind interprets that reflection as water, a silver lake trembling in the distance. You walk toward it, but it moves away, endlessly. You're not seeing the future or a fantasy. You're seeing physics made visible, the bending of light in the breath of heat. But the desert's art doesn't stop there. When wind meets sand, something ancient awakens. Dust devils rise, small whirlwinds, spinning columns of hot air, swirling grains of dust high into the sky. They move playfully across the land, twisting and dissolving in moments. Each one is a tiny cousin of the great tornado, born not from storms, but from sunlight itself. At times, the air grows restless and entire walls of dust begin to walk across the horizon. Haboobs, they are called. They stretch for miles, towering like mountains of ochre and gold, swallowing towns and valleys in seconds. When a haboob arrives, Daylight fades to amber. The air fills with grit. The wind howls through every crack, and the earth itself seems to shift. And then silence again. The dust settles. The world reappears, soft, muted, covered in a fine film of time. Deserts are often seen as empty, but they are far from lifeless. Every dawn, the air cools just enough for dew to form a single drop here, another there. Beetles climb dunes and tilt their bodies to collect this moisture on their shells, drinking life from the sky. Plants spread their roots deep, far below the surface, searching for forgotten streams. Even the cacti breathe sparingly, opening their pores only at night to drink in carbon dioxide, saving water drop by drop. And then there is the song of the dunes. In certain deserts, the Sahara, the Gobi, Death Valley sand can sing. When the grains are dry, uniform, and perfectly rounded, a landslide of sand can create vibrations that resonate through the entire dune. The sound is low and haunting, a deep, steady hum, like a note from the planet's own throat. Some describe it as a growl, others as a chant. To stand beside a singing dune is to feel the earth's pulse through your feet, a reminder that even the stillest landscapes are alive. The desert also paints with wind. Over years, centuries, and millennia, it carves stone into impossible shapes, arches, pillars, curves that look like frozen waves. It shifts dunes into patterns that move like slow rivers. Each ridge, each hollow, is a record of the invisible, the path of air made visible in sand. And at night, when the heat finally lifts and the stars appear, the desert transforms again. The same sky that shimmered with false water by day becomes a black ocean of light. Here, far from cities, every star burns sharp and clear, their light untouched by moisture or pollution. You can see the Milky Way as a river of fire crossing the heavens, another kind of mirage, but this time, one that's real. The desert breathes in cycles, heat by day, cold by night. Silence always. It teaches patience and perspective. For even in scarcity, in every grain of sand lies a story of mountains eroded, of rivers long vanished, of seas turned to dust. So when you look out across the dunes, shimmering under the weight of the sun, remember, you are not seeing emptiness. You are witnessing eternity, the world stripped to its essence, where air, light, and time weave together in pure simplicity. The desert's breath may be dry, but it carries truth. Even where nothing seems to move, life still endures. And even in silence, the earth still sings. Every day, we live beneath a miracle so familiar, we forget its wonder. The color of the sky. It shifts from blue to gold to crimson to black, from dawn's first whisper to night's deep sigh, and yet all of it comes from the same light. Sunlight, pure and white to our eyes, is actually a blend of every color, a spectrum of wavelengths moving together in harmony. When this light meets Earth's atmosphere, it begins to scatter. Tiny molecules of nitrogen and oxygen bounce shorter wavelengths, the blues and violets, in every direction. Our eyes are more sensitive to blue than violet, so the sky glows with that soft, infinite hue. That is why the heavens appear blue, not because they are, but because they scatter the smallest pieces of sunlight toward us. The effect is delicate yet powerful. On the moon, where there is no atmosphere, the sky is black even under the noon sunday. Only here, on our living planet, does light dance with air to create color. As the day stretches on, the sun's path changes. Its light passes through thicker layers of air, scattering away the blue and leaving behind the longer, deeper hues, oranges, reds, and golds. This is the language of sunrise and sunset, the earth turning, the light bending, the air filtering. Every evening, we watch the atmosphere paint its own farewell, a slow dissolve from warmth into shadow. No two sunsets are ever alike. Humidity, dust, volcanic ash, all of these shape the palette. After great eruptions, the skies can glow for months with strange beauty. The particles in the air scattering light into purples and deep scarlets, unseen in ordinary days. Even the soft haze of pollution can amplify a sunset's drama, though at a cost. Nature, in its irony, turns even imperfection into art. At night, When the sun slips away, another kind of light begins, faint and hidden. Even then, the atmosphere glows slightly with what scientists call air glow, atoms and molecules releasing energy absorbed during the day. It's too subtle for most eyes. But from space, astronauts can see it, a thin green halo around the planet, Earth's quiet sigh into darkness. Sometimes, under the right conditions, the sky's color changes in ways almost supernatural. At high altitudes, clouds made of ice crystals catch the sunlight long after the sun has set, creating luminous veils known as noctilucent clouds. They shimmer in silver and blue above the polar twilight, the highest clouds in the world, glowing in the edge between day and night. And at the very moment the sun dips below the horizon, a rare flash of emerald can appear. The green flash, a fleeting spark caused by the bending of light through layers of air. It lasts only a heartbeat, but sailors once believed it was the sea's wink, a sign of fair weather and safe passage. Beyond what we can see, the sky also holds colors invisible to our eyes. Ultraviolet, infrared, radio. To telescopes, the heavens blaze not only in blue and red, but in 1,000 shades of radiation. The universe, seen fully, is a vast storm of color and sound we can barely imagine. And so the blue above us, gentle, constant, alive, is both illusion and truth. It is air scattering light. It is chemistry and physics. And it is poetry, the atmosphere's way of showing us that beauty can exist in what cannot be touched. Every sunrise is a reminder of the planet's turning. Every sunset, a promise of return. Between them, the sky keeps breathing blue by day, black by night, always full of color, unseen. So tomorrow, when dawn stretches pale across your window, pause and look up. That color, that quiet, infinite blue, is not just the air above you. It is sunlight, slowed and scattered, brushing against the thin veil of our homeworld. It is the planet itself, wearing light. There are moments when light and water meet so perfectly that the sky itself seems to smile. After rain, when the air still glistens with mist, sunlight finds its way between the clouds and bends, splitting into its secret spectrum. The result is one of the oldest and purest symbols of hope on Earth, the rainbow. A rainbow isn't a thing you can touch. It isn't even a place you can reach. It exists only in the eye, a painting made by the physics of light, air, and angle. When sunlight passes through a raindrop, it slows, bends, reflects, and bends again as it exits. Each color in the spectrum takes a slightly different path, with red bending the least and violet the most. Together, they form a circle of color, though from the ground we see only an arc, because the earth hides the rest. If you could rise above the clouds, in an airplane or on a mountain peak, you would see the rainbow's true shape, a perfect, radiant circle floating in mist, and at its very center, you would find your own shadow, surrounded by the light. No two people ever see the same rainbow. Each one is a private creation of perspective. It is as personal as a reflection and as universal as sunlight. Sometimes, a fainter secondary rainbow appears above the first colors reversed. Red inside, violet outside. It forms because light has reflected twice inside the droplets before escaping. Between the two bows lies a darker band, Alexander's dark band, where the light simply does not fall. Even in brilliance, there is shadow. Even in color, contrast. But the rainbow is only one of the sky's many tricks of light. In colder places, where ice crystals drift in the high atmosphere, sunlight and moonlight can create other wonders: halos, sundogs, and pillars of fire. A halo appears as a glowing ring around the sun or moon, formed when light passes through tiny hexagonal ice crystals in cirrus clouds. The crystals act like millions of tiny prisms, bending the light by exactly 22 degrees, the same angle every time, no matter where or when. To see a halo is to glimpse geometry made visible, the quiet mathematics of light at play in frozen air. On very cold days, the same crystals can form sundogs, twin patches of rainbow color that flank the sun like silent guardians. They shimmer red and blue, hovering just above the horizon, most often seen when the sun is low. To ancient peoples, sundogs were omens, two suns in the sky, symbols of gods or great change. But to science, they are the sky's simple joy in splitting light. And sometimes, when the sun is near the horizon and ice crystals fall straight down like tiny plates, sun pillars appear, vertical beams of light reaching upward from the setting sun, like golden spears piercing the dusk. They last only minutes, fading as the air stills, but their beauty lingers long after they vanish. Even at night, the sky has its own version of these wonders. When the full moon shines through high clouds, it can form a lunar halo, pale and ghostly, a circle of silver light. Stand beneath it, and the world feels otherworldly, as if the sky is whispering softly through frost. All these phenomena, rainbows, halos, sundogs, pillars, share one truth. They are not illusions, but interactions. They reveal the hidden architecture of light, the way it moves, bends, and speaks through matter. They are the poetry of physics, written across the canvas of the sky. And perhaps that is why we feel so moved when we see them. They remind us that even the simplest things, sunlight, water, air, contain infinite complexity. They show us that beauty is not rare, only hidden in the ordinary. The next time rain clears and sunlight filters through the clouds, look up. You may not find a treasure at the rainbow's end, but you will find something better, a moment where light and life align, and the universe remembers how to smile. For in that brief arc of color, the sky is saying what words never can. I am made of light, and so are you. Far to the north and south, where night stretches for months, and the air itself feels close to the stars, the sky performs one of its most breathtaking miracles. It begins as a faint shimmer, a green whisper at the horizon, a flicker that could almost be a dream. Then, as if the heavens take a breath, it grows. Curtains of color ripple across the darkness. Green, purple, and crimson waves twist and curl in silence. The earth itself seems to be draped in living light. This is the aurora, known in the north as the aurora borealis, and in the south as the aurora australis. For those who stand beneath it, words often fail. The sky moves like water, yet no wind stirs. It glows like fire, yet no heat is felt. It is as though the planet's soul has become visible for a moment, dancing in rhythm with the universe. The story of the aurora begins far from Earth, with the Sunday. Our star constantly releases streams of charged particles called the solar wind. These particles travel across space, invisible and relentless, until they meet Earth's magnetic field. Most are deflected, gliding harmlessly away, but near the poles, where the magnetic field bends downward, some slip through. They spiral along magnetic lines toward the atmosphere, colliding with atoms of oxygen and nitrogen. Each collision releases a pulse of energy, a photon, a tiny flash of light. And when billions of these flashes occur at once, the sky ignites. The colors depend on altitude and the kind of atoms being struck. Green, the most common hue, comes from oxygen about 100 kilometers above the ground. Higher still, where the air is thinner, oxygen glows red. Nitrogen adds blue and purple to the edges, giving the aurora its layered, living appearance. From the ground, it looks like movement made of color ribbons, spirals, and waves that drift and pulse. But from space, astronauts see something even grander. A glowing oval wrapped around the poles, constantly shifting as solar winds change. The aurora is not a local phenomenon, it is the planet itself responding to the sun's song. In ancient times, these lights filled people with awe and fear. To the Inuit, they were the spirits of ancestors playing in the sky. To Norse travelers, they were reflections of armor, the Valkyries leading warriors to their final rest. In Japan, it was said that a child conceived under the aurora would be blessed with good fortune. Every culture found a story in the light, because it felt impossible that something so alive could be mere physics. But even knowing the science doesn't make it less magical. Standing beneath the aurora, you can feel the planet breathing a vast connection between sun and sky, magnet and matter. You are watching energy born from the heart of a star flow into the air around you, painting invisible magnetism into color. Sometimes, during powerful solar storms, the aurora can reach far beyond its usual home, seen in places like Scotland, Canada, or even the northern United States. During such events, compasses tremble, radio waves falter, and the sky burns in waves of emerald and rose. The air hums faintly with electricity, though no sound can truly capture what the eye beholds. And when the storm fades, the sky goes quiet again, black and deep and endless. But the memory of that light lingers, as if something inside you has been touched. The aurora is a meeting between Earth and the sun, between magnetism and light, between the known and the mysterious. To witness it is to see the invisible become visible, the energy of a distant star embracing the air we breathe. So when you look at photos of those rippling curtains of green, know this: they are not just lights in the sky. They are proof that our planet is alive, protected, and connected to the cosmos beyond. The aurora is the Earth's heartbeat made visible, its silent dance beneath the solar wind, its eternal reply to the sun's whisper. And for those lucky enough to stand beneath it, the world never feels quite the same again. All around us, even now, the air is moving. We cannot see it, but we can feel its touch, a gentle coolness on the skin, a whisper through the trees, a sigh across oceans and mountains. Wind is not emptiness. It is the Earth's invisible pulse, a river of motion that wraps around the globe. The story of wind begins with heat. The sun warms the Earth unevenly, more at the equator, less at the poles. Warm air expands and rises. Cool air contracts and sinks. In between, the atmosphere begins to flow, trying endlessly to balance itself. From this simple dance of temperature and pressure comes everything from the softest breeze to the fiercest storm. If you could see wind from space, you'd see vast bands circling the planet. The trade winds blowing steadily from east to west near the equator, the westerlies that push storms across the middle latitudes, and the polar easterlies, cold and dry, drifting from the top of the world. Each band is part of a great atmospheric engine, cells of rising and falling air that keep the planet breathing evenly. Between these great rivers of air, at about 10 kilometers above us, rush the jet streams, narrow bands of wind that can reach speeds over 300 kilometers per hour. They are the highways of the upper sky, guiding storms, carrying seeds, and even shaping the routes of airplanes. A small shift in the jet stream can change the weather of entire continents. Closer to the ground, wind is more personal, shaped by the Earth's contours. It races through mountain passes, curls around cliffs, and flows over fields like water over stone. Where valleys narrow, wind accelerates. Where it meets obstacles, it swirls into eddies and whirlwinds. Every gust, every stillness, has a reason written in the landscape. There are winds with names, each carrying a story of place and character. In the Sahara, the sirocco blows northward, carrying desert heat into the Mediterranean. In California, the Santa Ana winds rush from dry mountains to the sea, hot and fierce, sometimes igniting fire. The Mistral sweeps down from the Alps, cold and clean, scouring the valleys of France. And across Asia, the monsoon winds shift with the seasons, bringing months of rain or months of silence, the great inhale and exhale of the Indian Ocean. To sailors, wind is both friend and foe. They learn to read its moods by cloud and wave the angle of a sail, the smell of salt, the shape of the horizon. Before engines, it was wind that carried humanity across the world, guiding explorers, traders, and wanderers alike. Civilizations rose and fell on the back of its favor. But wind does not only move ships, it moves life itself. It carries pollen from one flower to another, dust from deserts to forests, and the faint scent of rain long before the first drop falls. It lifts seeds into the air, sending them across continents to places where they might one day take root. Even tiny spiders use the wind, releasing threads of silk to drift upward, ballooning across fields and oceans. At times, wind can become a sculptor of power. It carves stone in deserts, shapes dunes into waves, and bends trees into permanent bowing forms. It lifts oceans into great swells and tears waves into mist. And yet, when it brushes your cheek on a cool morning, it feels almost tender, a reminder that even the mightiest forces of nature can be gentle. In a way, the wind is a traveler between worlds. It connects mountain and sea, desert and forest, the heat of the day and the chill of the night. Every breath we take is shared with it. Air once exhaled by trees, carried across oceans, mixed with starlight and dust. Stand still for a moment in the open and listen. The wind speaks in tones, a low hum through branches, a high whistle around corners, a deep roar across the plains. It tells the story of where it's been, the scent of rain, taste of salt, the dry whisper of distant sands. To live on Earth is to live inside an ocean of air. We are creatures of its currents, shaped by its moods, nourished by its movement. The wind may be invisible, but it is never absent. It is the earth breathing in, out, always. And when you close your eyes and feel it move through your hair, know this: the same air has touched mountains, oceans, jungles, and stars. You are standing in the flow of a river older than life itself. The endless breath of the world. The sea and the sky are not opposites, they are mirrors. One made of water, the other of air, both vast, both restless, both ruled by invisible tides. The same forces that move the oceans also move the atmosphere, shaping winds, currents, and climates across the globe. When you stand on a beach and watch the horizon blur, you are looking at the meeting place of two great fluids. Waves below, clouds above, both born of the same motion, both sculpted by the same breath of the earth. The oceans are the slow pulse of the planet. They absorb sunlight during the day and release it through the night, moderating the world's temperature. Their surface currents, like the warm Gulf Stream or the cold Humboldt Current, are highways of heat, carrying energy from one hemisphere to another. Without them, the tropics would burn, and the poles would freeze beyond life's reach. But above those waters, invisible currents are also flowing rivers of air that move in harmony with the sea. When warm air rises from the ocean's surface, it draws in moisture, forming clouds. As the air cools and sinks again, it dries and clears. This endless cycle, rising, cooling, sinking, repeating, is the atmospheric heartbeat that drives the weather of our world. Where sea and sky meet most intimately, storms are born. The ocean feeds them vapor, rising, condensing, releasing heat. The sky shapes them, spinning them, guiding them, scattering their rain across continents. Together, they create hurricanes, monsoons, and gentle rains alike. All versions of the same conversation between water and air. Even far inland, the ocean's breath reaches you. It carries humidity across deserts, drives the pattern of seasons, and fills clouds that fall as mountain snow. Every drop of rain that touches your skin once belonged to the sea. The relationship between ocean and atmosphere is so profound that scientists call it coupled, as if the two are dancing, never truly apart. When one warms, the other stirs. When one cools, the other calms. Their balance defines climate itself. Every few years, this balance shifts dramatically in an event called El Niño, the boy, named long ago by Peruvian fishermen. During El Niño, warm water pools across the Pacific, changing wind patterns across half the planet. Rains fall where droughts once were. Dry seasons come where floods were expected. Its opposite, La Niña, reverses the pattern, cooling the ocean and sharpening storms elsewhere. Together, these cycles remind us that the sea and sky are inseparable partners in a dance we only partly understand. At night, when the surface of the ocean cools, the air above it condenses into mist. Fog drifts ashore, rolling through harbors and valleys like a living thing. Sailors once called it the sea's ghost, the ocean breathing out before dawn. And when day returns, sunlight scatters on the waves, forming the same spectrum of blues that colors the sky. The deeper you look, the darker it grows until sea and sky merge in an endless gradient of light and shadow. It is easy to forget that clouds are made of water from the sea, and rain is simply the ocean visiting the land. Rivers return that water, drop by drop, in the long cycle that has kept the world alive for 4 billion years. Evaporation, condensation, precipitation, the simplest of patterns. Yet it sustains everything we know. When you watch the waves, you are watching time made visible. The memory of winds from distant places, storms long past, sunlight turned to motion. And when you watch clouds drift overhead, you are seeing the sea rise into air, wander, and one day fall again. The Earth has only one great ocean, really a single body of water and air, bound together by gravity and light. We have given it names: Atlantic, Pacific, Indian, but they are all one heartbeat. So when the breeze off the sea touches your face, remember, it has traveled across continents and centuries. It has carried the scent of coral reefs, the salt of melting ice, the warmth of equatorial Sunday. It has risen as vapor, become rain, and fallen again 1,000 times. You are breathing the ocean, and the ocean, in its quiet way, is breathing you. Every leaf on earth is part of the sky. When a forest breathes, it shapes the air itself, turning sunlight, water, and carbon into wind, clouds, and rain. We think of trees as rooted, still, patient. But in truth, forests are engines of atmosphere, silent architects of the weather we feel. When the morning sun touches a forest, the leaves awaken first. Tiny pores open on their surfaces, millions of microscopic mouths called stomata. Through them, trees release invisible vapor into the air. This process, called transpiration, is the forest's quiet exhalation. A single large tree can release hundreds of liters of water each day, a living fountain that rises, condenses, and drifts into the sky. Multiply that by billions of trees, and you begin to see the scale of the forest's power. Over the Amazon basin, the air itself is born anew each day. Moisture from leaves feeds clouds. Clouds feed rain. Rain feeds rivers. Rivers feed the roots again. It is not just a forest, it is a cycle. A breathing organism the size of a continent. Scientists call this the biotic pump, the idea that vast forests actually pull moist air inland, creating their own rain. The Amazon, the Congo, and the great jungles of Southeast Asia are not simply shaped by climate. They create it. Cut the trees, and the rains begin to falter. Let them grow, and the world breathes deeper. Even temperate forests, oaks, pines, birches do the same. Though in gentler rhythm, their leaves cool the air in summer, lowering temperatures by several degrees. Their roots hold the soil, slowing floods. Their branches break the wind, softening the force of storms. In winter, bare trees rest, their breath slowed, their silence storing strength for spring. Forests also release invisible chemistry into the air. Fragrant compounds like isoprene and terpenes, the scents you smell after rain or when pine needles are crushed underfoot. These molecules rise, mix with sunlight, and form tiny particles that seed clouds. So even the aroma of a forest contributes to the weather above it. In northern lands, vast boreal forests stretch toward the Arctic. In summer, their green crowns absorb sunlight, warming the earth. In winter, snow-covered branches reflect it, cooling the air. They are the planet's thermostat, regulating the delicate balance between heat and cold. Forests even speak to one another through air and root. When drought approaches, trees release signals that reduce transpiration, conserving water. When one burns, the smoke carries more than ash. It carries nutrients and chemicals that will one day help the next generation grow. Fire and forest are not enemies. They are partners in renewal, exchanging energy through destruction and rebirth. But perhaps most astonishing is how far the forest's breath can travel. Moisture from the Amazon has been traced across the Atlantic, falling as rain on Africa. Dust from the Sahara drifts westward, feeding the soil of South America. Every forest, every desert, every ocean participates in a global conversation of wind and vapor, the planet's own weather language. When you stand beneath trees on a humid afternoon and feel that soft thickness in the air, you are standing inside their breath. Every drop of sweat, every bead of condensation, every low cloud forming on the horizon, all of it part of the forest's work. Forests do not simply exist beneath the sky. They create it. They are lungs made of wood and leaf, turning sunlight into air and silence into rain. So the next time you walk under a canopy and hear the leaves whisper, pause. You are listening to the weather being born. The rustle above you is not just wind, it is conversation between earth and atmosphere. In the grand cycle of the planet, every storm has a root, and every breeze has passed through the lungs of trees. The forest's breath may be unseen, but it is the reason clouds still wander and rivers still flow. Without it, the sky would forget how to dream. Mountains do not just touch the sky, they shape it. Every ridge, every slope, every peak rising into the air bends the wind, splits the clouds, and sculpts the flow of rain and snow. They are the world's great weather makers, stone spines that breathe the sky into being. When warm, moist air drifts across the land and meets a mountain wall, it has no choice but to rise. As it climbs, it cools. The water vapor it carries condenses into droplets, forming clouds that gather and deepen. Soon, the air can no longer hold its burden, and the sky releases it as rain or snow. This is the orographic effect, the mountain's gift and trial to the lands below. The windward side of a mountain lives lushly, drenched in rain, wrapped in mist and moss. Rivers are born there, thin threads that carve valleys, grow into streams, then floodplains, then deltas, carrying mountain memory all the way to the sea. On the other side, where the air descends again, it warms and dries, creating a rain shadow, a zone of sparse life and open silence. Thus, a single mountain range can divide climates, jungle on one face, desert on the other. You can see this across the world. The Himalayas stop monsoon clouds from crossing north, leaving the Tibetan plateau arid and cold. The Andes catch the moisture of the Pacific, turning Chile's Atacama into one of the driest places on Earth. Even small mountains shape their surroundings, every hill, every ridge, changing how clouds move and where storms begin. High above, the air grows thin and fierce. Winds race faster, unchecked by trees or valleys, and temperatures plunge. Here, weather feels raw-born, not yet tamed. At sunrise, clouds wrap around peaks like scarves. By afternoon, they unravel into ribbons of light. Thunderstorms gather with astonishing speed, their echoes bouncing through valleys like the footsteps of giants. The mountain's summit is the meeting of two worlds, rock and sky, earth and ether. At such heights, the air itself becomes fragile, so thin that every breath feels like a conversation with the heavens. Lightning here is closer, sharper, faster. Even small storms can unleash bolts that strike stone directly, splitting it into glittering fragments. Some mountaintops wear scars of this power-melted rock that once was touched by fire from above. Snow is the mountain's memory of clouds, frozen sky resting upon stone. Each winter, layers build upon layers, compressing into ice that flows downward in slow motion, forming glaciers. These glaciers are time-embodied rivers of centuries, moving imperceptibly yet carving entire valleys in their path. When they melt in spring, they release water to the world below, water that began as vapor in a distant ocean, lifted by warmth, carried by wind, and finally offered back by mountain hands. And in the high silence, there is more than weather. The thin air scatters light differently, turning dawns bluer, sunsets sharper, stars more vivid. Astronomers build observatories here not only to escape city lights, but because the air is so clean that the universe seems only an arm's length away. From such heights, you can see the curvature of the earth, and with it, perhaps, the curve of time itself. Mountains teach patience to the sky. They slow winds, birth storms, and catch clouds. They remind the air of gravity, and they remind us of humility. Long before humans measured temperature or wind speed, ancient peoples looked to the peaks for signs of the heavens. A halo around a mountaintop meant rain was coming. A cap of lenticular clouds meant strong winds. To them, mountains were not obstacles but oracles, places where the earth spoke through the air. And perhaps that's still true. If you've ever stood on a ridge while the fog rolled in, the world vanishing, replaced by white stillness, you know the feeling. It is as if the mountain itself is breathing through you, joining you for a moment to the rhythm of its eternal conversation with the sky. Every breeze that leaves a mountain carries a trace of its chill, its wisdom, its quiet. Those winds drift down to valleys, across plains, over seas, spreading weather like whispers from stone. So when you look at a mountain in the distance, remember, it is not just rock. It is a sky shaper, a rain bringer, a guardian of air. It stands between earth and heaven, translating one into the other, a reminder that all weather, all motion, all life begins where land dares to reach the clouds. At the edges of the earth, where the compass begins to lose its certainty, weather transforms into something pure, almost otherworldly. Here, the air is sharper, the light stranger, the silence deeper. This is the polar world, where the boundaries between sky, land, and sea begin to blur into light. In summer, the midnight sun hovers just above the horizon, circling but never setting. For weeks, even months, the world glows in perpetual twilight. Shadows never fully form. The air seems painted in honey and gold. Every glacier, every ripple of sea ice reflects that low, endless light, turning the landscape into a mirror of frozen fire. And then, without warning, the sun disappears. Winter arrives not as an event, but as an erasure light fading into blue, then violet, then nothing. The polar night begins. For half the year, the world rests under darkness, illuminated only by the moon, the stars, and the dance of the auroras. During this time, the air feels alive with its own quiet power. The cold here is not merely temperature, it is presence. It seeps into every breath, every sound, until even footsteps feel muffled by frost. At 50 degrees Celsius, metal cracks, breath crystallizes mid-air, and the snow squeaks beneath boots as if alive. Yet the polar sky is never truly dark. It glows with faint halos and reflections, light reborn from ice. Even a sliver of sun below the horizon can scatter through the atmosphere, tinting the snow in layers of rose and lavender. When clouds drift through this half-light, they sometimes blaze with iridescence, colors soft as soap bubbles, fleeting as dreams. This ethereal glow belongs to polar stratospheric clouds, also called mother-of-pearl clouds. They form high in the stratosphere, far above ordinary weather, when temperatures plunge below 80 degrees Celsius. The ice crystals there act like prisms, bending sunlight into hues unseen anywhere else. They are rare, delicate, and haunting beauty, born from the most brutal cold. Beneath this sky lies a frozen ocean, the sea ice that grows and retreats with the seasons, breathing in slow rhythm with the planet. When the ice thickens, it traps air and salt, forming layers that crack and groan as they shift. Stand upon it, and you can hear it sing deep, echoing booms that travel for miles beneath your feet, as if the ocean itself is murmuring in its sleep. As the polar winds sweep across this world, they sculpt the snow into delicate ridges called sastrugi, frozen waves shaped by air and time. In the morning light, their edges cast long shadows, and for a moment, it seems as though the sea has turned to stone. But even here, where temperatures would freeze breath, life endures. Tiny algae bloom beneath the ice, painting its underside green. Seals carve breathing holes through meters of frozen water. Penguins, foxes, and polar bears move across the silence, warm blood in a cold universe. Each breath they take sends a thin vapor upward, life writing itself, however briefly, upon the air. When spring returns, the change comes quietly. A hint of warmth softens the edges of the snow. The first drop of meltwater glides down the ice, catching light like a falling star. The sun returns higher each day, and soon the entire world brightens again, a slow rebirth painted in gold and blue. The polar sky is a paradox, fierce yet fragile, silent yet full of voice. It shows us how light behaves when stretched thin across eternity. It reminds us that beauty can exist even at the edge of survival. And when night falls once more, and the auroras rise in shimmering veils of green, pink, and violet, the sky seems to breathe, as if the world itself is dreaming in color. In that dream, cold becomes light, and silence becomes sound. You realize that the poles are not empty, they are alive with memory, with reflection, with the planet's oldest rhythms. The polar regions are where the Earth remembers what it is to be still, and in their frozen breath, the weather begins again. Close your eyes, listen. Somewhere, a storm is moving across the land, not fierce, not violent, but gentle, slow, deliberate. The rain begins as a whisper, like fingers brushing over the skin of leaves. It builds steady, rhythmic, until the world itself seems to hum. Each droplet is a note, each gust of wind a measure, and together they form one of the oldest songs on Earth. The sound of rain is never the same twice. On dry soil, it clicks and sighs, the ground exhaling in gratitude. On rooftops, it drums in polyrhythm, quick and confident. On water, it softens, dissolving into countless ripples, like whispers in an infinite hall. Every surface gives rain a voice, and every listener hears their own melody. If you listen closely, you'll notice layers. There is the high, bright patter of droplets falling through leaves, the soft hiss of mist meeting grass, the deep resonance of thunder far away, rolling like a heartbeat beneath the sky. And in between silence, the spaces where sound breathes. Rain is the planet's great storyteller. It travels everywhere, crossing deserts, jungles, cities, and mountains, carrying scents and memories in its fall. When it lands, it speaks of where it has been: ocean salt in one droplet, forest pollen in another. To stand in the rain is to feel the world's journey touching your skin. For animals, rain is language. Frogs sense its rhythm and begin to sing before it arrives. Birds call differently in its presence, their voices softer, rounder, as if echoing the clouds. Insects quiet, and the forest shifts its tone, becoming an orchestra of patience and waiting. Humans, too, have always listened to rain as though it were more than weather. To farmers, it meant survival. To poets, it meant reflection. To wanderers, it meant shelter and story. Every culture has a word, a song, a prayer for it, because rain is not just water, it is renewal made audible. There is a scientific reason it soothes us. The sound of rainfall contains a kind of white noise, a balanced mix of frequencies that masks harsh sounds and calms the mind. Our brains interpret it as safe, familiar, steady. It slows the heartbeat, quiets thought, and invites rest. It's no wonder that so many lullabies, so many recordings of peace, try to imitate the sound of falling rain. But beyond the science, there is something deeper. Rain is a mirror. It reflects our moods, our memories, our need to pause. A storm can feel mournful, cleansing, romantic, lonely, or reborn the sky, translating emotion into sound. Each droplet is both beginning and ending, falling, dissolving, becoming part of something larger. When the storm passes, the sound fades slowly. The final drops tap from branches, one by one. The ground steams gently. In that quiet afterward, that pause between rain and sunlight, the world feels newly made. Colors sharpen, air thickens with scent. The earth smells alive again. And then, faintly, from somewhere unseen, a bird sings. Not loudly, but clearly, as though acknowledging that the song of rain is over, and now it's the sky's turn to listen. If you ever find yourself restless or unsure, go to a window when it rains. Listen not with your ears, but with your whole body. Let the rhythm slow your breath. Let the cool scent rise through you. You are hearing what mountains, forests, and oceans have heard for billions of years. The planet reminding itself to rest. For that is what rain truly is. Earth breathing in sound. A lullaby for everything that grows, everything that dreams, everything that waits for the next dawn. And when it ends, and the clouds drift apart, the silence that follows isn't empty. It is full of renewal. Peace. Of the promise that the sky will sing again. When the storm finally breaks and the rain begins to fade, the world seems to pause, suspended between endings and renewal. The clouds thin, the light hesitates, and a fragile stillness spreads through the air. This is the afterstorm. The quiet chapter that follows all tempests, the moment when the earth exhales. The first thing that arrives is scent. That unmistakable perfume of wet soil and crushed green petrichor, the breath of stone and root. It rises gently, as though from the ground itself, mingling with the faint metallic note of ozone left by lightning. Every drop that evaporates carries a trace of the places it touched: leaf, bark, dust, weaving them together into a fragrance that feels older than memory. Then comes light. Not the harsh glare of noon, but a softened radiance filtered through silver clouds. Each leaf gleams with tiny mirrors of water. Each puddle holds a trembling sky. Sunlight scatters across droplets still hanging in the air. And sometimes, if the angle is just right, the horizon folds itself into color. A rainbow, ephemeral. Even if no one sees it, it's there for a heartbeat. A quiet celebration of light returning. After storms, the world seems sharper, more deliberate. Edges stand out, colors deepen. The dust that once dulled the air has been washed away, and the sky wears a clarity that feels almost new. Birds return to the branches, shaking off the rain from their feathers. Their calls sound brighter now, not cautious, but joyful, as though they too feel the world's cleansing. In the still puddles that remain, The smallest creatures reawaken. Mosquito larvae wriggle in new pools. Worms emerge to breathe. Frogs find their voices again in distant reeds. What seemed like destruction was, in truth, renewal, a resetting of rhythm. And yet, the aftermath of a storm also carries weight. Leaves lie torn on the ground, branches broken, rivers swollen. The calm that follows is not ignorance, but acceptance, the land absorbing both the harm and the gift. For storms do not come to punish, but to balance. They bring what the air has held too long: moisture, energy, release. Look closely after heavy rain, and you may notice thin threads of steam rising from the road or soil. This is evaporation, the return, the cycle restarting. The water that fell is already preparing to rise again. Invisible but inevitable. Even as we stand amid puddles, the next clouds are being born. In this in-between light, shadows seem gentler. Children step into puddles, their reflections dancing in ripples. Windows open. The first breeze after rain is cool, sweet, and alive with the scent of rebirth. People breathe deeper without realizing why. Somewhere far away, the storm's edge is still moving, its echoes rolling toward another horizon. Someone else will soon feel its rain, hear its thunder, breathe its scent, part of the same rhythm, the same breath. If you've ever walked outside right after a storm, you know the feeling. Shoes sinking slightly into wet ground, air heavy but calm, light glancing through droplets on grass like shards of glass. It's as though the world is whispering, "Thank you," because the afterstorm is not an ending. It is the pause between breaths, the moment when the earth listens to itself. And if you stand quietly long enough, you can feel it, the rhythm returning. A soft rustle of leaves, the drip of water from eaves, the faint murmur of wind finding its path again. Soon the cycle will resume, the sun warming, the air rising, the clouds gathering. But for now, in this fragile silence, the world is clean. It has been washed, softened, made new. Every storm carries this promise in its wake. No matter how dark the sky becomes, the light will always find its way back. And when it does, it will shine brighter for having been missed. The weather does not wander aimlessly. It follows a rhythm older than any living thing, the steady turning of the earth around the Sunday. From this endless orbit comes the heartbeat of time itself. The seasons. Each one is not merely a change of temperature, but a chapter in the planet's grand symphony. A rise, a crescendo, a fall, and a rest. It begins with spring, the season of returning light. After months of cold and stillness, the sun climbs higher in the sky, warming soil and seed alike. Frozen rivers loosen their grip, and sap begins to rise through roots as if the earth itself is waking from sleep. The first green shoots appear, delicate but certain, and air once sharp with frost turns soft with scent. Rain, pollen, newness. Animals emerge cautiously. Birds return from their journeys. The world remembers motion. The rain in spring is different, lighter, cleaner, filled with the scent of growing things. Every droplet seems to carry a whisper, "Begin again." Then comes summer, the season of fullness. The days lengthen until they seem to never end. The sun lingering like a guest who refuses to leave. Heat gathers over fields and oceans, fueling great clouds that rise like mountains in the afternoon sky. Thunderstorms bloom and vanish, leaving air heavy and sweet. This is the season of abundance, of green forests, ripe fruit, and laughter spilling into the long golden evenings. Summer teaches the lesson of intensity, to live fully while light allows. Even the winds seem lazy. The rain warm, the stars patient above warm earth. But slowly, almost imperceptibly, the sun begins its retreat. The shadows stretch longer. The evenings arrive sooner. The air tastes different, thinner, crisper. Autumn unfolds in gold. Leaves turn flame red and amber as trees draw their life inward, conserving for the cold ahead. The wind grows restless again, carrying the scent of smoke and soil. Rain falls less often but feels deeper, as though it knows time is short. This is the season of balance between abundance and scarcity, between warmth and chill. The world begins to quiet itself, but beautifully, like a candle dimming rather than extinguishing. Even the sky seems to lower its voice, painting sunsets in deeper hues, copper, wine, and violet. And then comes winter, the long exhale. The land grows still. Snow returns, not as invasion but as peace, covering the noise of months past, softening edges, silencing the wind. Underneath the frozen crust, seeds rest, animals sleep, rivers pause. Even the air feels slower, as though time itself has settled to rest. In the pale light of winter, everything simplifies. You can see farther, hear clearer, breathe more deeply. It is easy to think of winter as the end, but that is an illusion. It is the pause before the next beginning, the earth inhaling, preparing once again for light. The sun will climb higher soon, the snow will melt, and the first shoots will rise once more through the softened soil. Each season carries within it the seeds of the next. Spring's rain becomes summer's storm. Summer's warmth becomes autumn's harvest. Autumn's calm becomes winter's rest. And winter's silence becomes spring's song. This rhythm, this quiet clockwork governs every life, every migration, every blooming and falling leaf. Even we, who live behind glass and walls, feel it still. Our moods shift with the light. Our thoughts mirror the sky. We are not separate from the turning, we are part of it. If you step outside often enough, you begin to notice that the air changes its sound with the seasons. Spring hums with trickling water and insects returning. Summer buzzes thick and low, heavy with heat. Autumn crackles dry leaves, distant fires, the rustle of wind. Winter hushes the soft sweep of snow, the creak of ice, the stillness that makes every sound sacred. The seasons are Earth's reminder that nothing is permanent, but everything returns. They are repetition as reassurance, the planet's way of promising us renewal. So when the air turns cold or the days grow long, don't resist the change. Step into it, feel the shift. The world is turning not against you, but with you. You are part of its motion, its rise, its fall, its rest. For in the great clock of the cosmos, each season is a breath, and together they form the endless, patient breathing of the earth. Look up. The sky seems empty, a quiet blue canvas stretching without end. But in truth, it is alive. Every breath we take, every cloud that drifts, every gust that touches the trees, belongs to a vast, invisible ocean. The atmosphere, it wraps our planet in a gentle, shifting veil, holding warmth, scattering light, and carrying the endless stories of wind and weather. If the oceans of water are Earth's heart, then the atmosphere is its skin, thin, delicate, but vital. It shields us from the sun's harshness, filters the stars into twinkling light, and creates the very conditions that make life possible. Without it, there would be no color, no rain, no sound. The world would be silent and still, a frozen stone in the dark. But instead, it moves. Constantly, currents of air sweep around the globe in invisible tides. At the equator, warm air rises like breath. Near the poles, cold air sinks. These flows twist and curl, creating jet streams, trade winds, monsoons, an intricate choreography that never stops, yet never repeats exactly the same. It is motion made of nothing we can see, yet strong enough to carve mountains and shape entire climates. The air above us is divided into layers, though they do not look distinct. Closest to the ground lies the troposphere, the realm of clouds, storms, and birds. It reaches only a few miles upward, but it holds almost everything we call weather. Here, the air is thick and heavy with moisture, and temperatures drop as we rise until they meet the calm of the stratosphere. In the stratosphere, air grows still and thin. This is where jets leave their white trails, and where the ozone layer forms a shimmering shield, absorbing much of the sun's ultraviolet light. Without that thin barrier, sunlight would burn life from the surface. It is one of nature's quiet miracles, a veil so fragile, yet so essential. Higher still, in the mesosphere, meteors streak and burn, tiny flashes of cosmic dust, dissolving before they can touch the Earth. Then the thermosphere, where shimmering auroras dance, painted by particles from the sunday. And finally, the exosphere, where air fades into the black silence of space. To stand on Earth's surface is to live at the bottom of an ocean of air, one that extends hundreds of miles above your head. Each moment, invisible rivers of gas and dust swirl around you, pressing gently with a weight we barely notice. Air pressure, It's this invisible weight that holds clouds aloft, that shapes the wind, that allows every sound you've ever heard to exist. Even color, the simple blue of the daytime sky, is born from this ocean's depth. When sunlight enters the atmosphere, it scatters among the air's tiny particles. Blue light, being shorter and more agile, dances in all directions, filling the sky with its familiar calm. At dawn and dusk, when sunlight travels farther through the air, the blues fade and the reds rise, turning the heavens to fire. It is a painting made by distance, air, and light. The atmosphere also connects every living thing. When you exhale, a molecule of your breath begins a journey that may one day enter the lungs of a whale, or a tree, or another person halfway across the planet. The air we breathe is shared, ancient and endless, mixed by the winds and recycled by time. Each inhale is part of an unbroken chain stretching back billions of years to the first sighs of life itself. Even now, as you sit beneath this sky, invisible threads are connecting you to every other being on Earth. A leaf stirring in the wind in one place might be the same air that brushes your cheek moments later. The song of a bird travels through it. The scent of rain moves within it. The warmth of sunlight flows across it. You are inside a living system, floating, breathing, listening within an ocean made of air. At night, the atmosphere softens its glow. Stars emerge through the thinning haze, and the air cools, settling gently like a blanket over land and sea. Sometimes, high above, faint streaks of green or violet flicker, auroras dancing in the upper layers, proof that even in darkness, the sky is awake. It's humbling to think that everything we know, clouds, weather, wind, warmth, happens within a layer so thin it would barely cover a globe in paint if the Earth were the size of an apple. And yet within that fragile skin lies the fullness of life. So the next time you look up, remember, the sky is not empty. It is the breath of the planet, the soft shield that holds our world in light, and the great silent ocean where all our weather dreams begin. Every moment of every day, the Earth is breathing, not in the way that lungs do, but through the rise and fall of air, the movement of heat, and the turning of water from vapor to cloud to rain and back again. This is the great cycle of weather, the quiet machinery that never sleeps, the heartbeat that keeps the planet alive. It begins with the sun, the great engine of all motion. Each ray of sunlight that touches the Earth carries energy, invisible warmth that stirs oceans, air, and life itself. When sunlight strikes the surface, land and water absorb it unevenly. Deserts grow hot, forests stay cool, oceans warm slowly but hold their heat for long. From these differences, wind is born air, moving from where it's warm and light to where it's cool and heavy. Simple, elegant, endless. The sun's heat also calls water upward. It lifts silently from oceans, rivers, leaves, and even your own breath rising into the sky as invisible vapor. Higher and higher it climbs until cool air welcomes it. And the vapor condenses into droplets. Billions gather, shimmering in sunlight, and a cloud is born. Each cloud is a traveler, carried by the wind, growing and changing as it moves. Some drift quietly for days, others swell into storms. Within them, droplets collide, merge, and grow heavy, until gravity calls them home again. As rain, snow, or hail, they fall, feeding rivers, lakes, and roots, completing the circle that began with the warmth of the Sunday. It is a perfect loop, water rising, cooling, falling, and rising again. Nothing is lost, only transformed. The raindrop on your window tonight may once have fallen on a prehistoric fern, or drifted in a glacier's heart, or been part of a distant sea. Weather is not just what happens now, it is the memory of water, repeating across ages. The same is true for the winds. They too have history. A breeze on your face might have begun weeks ago as a desert draft, or a whisper of air slipping over the Pacific, gathering warmth and salt and scent as it traveled. By the time it reaches you, it carries stories of mountains and oceans, invisible souvenirs from every place it's been. And so, the atmosphere breathes, exhaling clouds, inhaling clear skies, expanding in heat, contracting in cold. Each breath felt as a change in the weather. each pulse a reminder that the planet is not static but alive. This breathing keeps balance. When the sun burns too hot, clouds form to shade the land. When rain lingers too long, wind clears the air. Even the fiercest storms, the wildest lightning, are part of this grand conversation between sky and sea, between warmth and cold. Without it, Earth would fall silent, too hot by day, too frozen by night, lifeless between extremes. Every creature, knowingly or not, lives by this rhythm. Plants open their leaves to morning light, closing them when clouds darken. Animals time their migrations to rains and winds. Even humans, with our walls and machines, are guided by this ancient pulse moods, shifting with sunlight, sleep deepening with rain, hearts stirring when the wind turns warm, and when the day ends, the sun slips below the horizon. Yet the breath of earth continues. Warm air rises through the cooling night. Dew forms on grass, mists drift across fields. Distant storms glow faintly beyond the edge of the world. The machinery hums on, silent, graceful, tireless. In this way, weather is not a collection of events, but a living system, an unending conversation between ocean and air, light and shadow, life and time. It is motion made beautiful, change made visible. It is the soul of the planet moving through form after form, forever beginning again. And when you lie down tonight, the same air that carried storms across continents will settle gently around you. It will fill your lungs, cool your skin, and rock you to rest in the same rhythm it has kept for eons. You are breathing with the earth, part of its endless exchange, its grand and patient weather. So close your eyes. Feel the quiet motion around you, the rise, the fall, the whisper of wind beyond your window. The world is turning. The air is moving. The clouds are dreaming. And though storms may come and pass, though seasons shift and skies change color, the breath of the planet continues steady, infinite, serene. Weather is not just what happens above us. It is what holds us, connects us, and lulls us, the pulse beneath the calm, the story written in every breeze, and the gentle rhythm that says, again and again, everything changes and everything continues. Every story told about weather, every cloud, every breeze, every storm, leads us back to the same truth. The sky is not something above us. It is around us, within us, part of everything we are. Every breath we take was once part of the wind. Every tear, every drop of blood, every river begins with vapor rising through the air. We are not separate from the atmosphere, we are its children. It cradles us from birth, follows us through every hour of our lives, and takes us home again when we are gone. When you inhale, you are taking in molecules that once drifted through the lungs of forests, across oceans, through ancient storms. The same oxygen that now fills your chest once sustained the first fish, the first trees, the first spark of life to rise from sea to sky. The air that touches your skin is billions of years old, a timeless traveler that remembers every dawn the earth has ever known. And within that shared breath lies an invitation to notice, to look up not just in wonder, but in kinship, to see in the slow drift of clouds the same restlessness that moves within us, to understand that every gust of wind, every beam of sunlight, every fall of rain is part of a single, continuous story, the story of balance. The sky teaches us this balance. It never clings, never resists change. It forms, dissolves, gathers, releases, constant transformation, constant renewal. When clouds darken, it does not despair. When they clear, it does not cling to joy. It simply flows, and in doing so, it endures. Perhaps that is why we feel peace when we watch the weather, why rain calms us, why sunlight stirs our spirit, why the sound of wind through trees feels familiar. It is the rhythm we were born from, the pulse we carry inside. When we find it again, we remember what it means to belong to something vast and beautiful. So, the next time the air shifts, pause. Feel the movement against your face. Watch the light change across the sky. Listen to the language of clouds, the murmur of wind, the far-off echo of thunder rolling through distance. These are not strangers' voices, they are the sound of home. And when the storm comes, as it always will, remember, it is not here to harm, but to cleanse, not to destroy, but to renew. The world breathes through it and through you. For in the end, weather is not just the state of the atmosphere, it is the living poetry of Earth itself, a dialogue between warmth and cold, stillness and motion, light and shadow. It is the dream of oceans told through air. It is the memory of stars carried on the wind. And we fragile, finite, fleeting are lucky enough to stand inside that dream. When you look at the sky, you are not looking at emptiness. You are looking at the reflection of life itself, an endless sea of breath, color, and motion, singing softly the same refrain it has whispered since the beginning of time. Everything moves, everything changes, everything continues.